Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. Seb here, and thank you for clicking on this video. So around a month ago, if I'm not mistaken, I made a story on Instagram and also a post on YouTube asking if anybody has questions and if you want to share them with me so I can make a Q&A video. So before we do that, I just want to ask you quickly to subscribe, please, to stay up to date with all these videos. I noticed that a lot of people that watch these videos are not subscribed to my channel. If you subscribe, it helps grow the channel, which obviously helps me spread the message wider and wider. So without making you wait for too long, let's get to the questions. The first question we have is, have you stayed good friends with non-vegans? And the answer is definitely yes. I do not believe that I should just stop talking to close friends who aren't vegan, but I also believe that there are certain boundaries. So it's definitely not a huge yes, but definitely also not a huge no. The reason why I said this is because yes, I do have some close friends that I'm not so close to anymore, but I also have close friends who are also non-vegans, but I'm so close to them because they always make sure that my boundaries are respected. And I believe that this is a good way to address the topics. Thanks to me doing this, I have had the opportunity to help a lot of these close friends go vegan eventually. So I do think that this is a good thing to do. The second question is there a way to be sure if a food product having labels like may contain eggs or milk is vegan? The answer is no. However, this product remains vegan. The reason why they put this is because a lot of companies that make food products also make non-vegan products in which they use milk or eggs or other animal products or even peanuts, and you'd see that as well. And you would see that as well. They sometimes write may contain nuts. They do this because maybe during the production there could be some cross-contamination, and if you're someone who has a very specific allergy that could be dangerous for you, they should make sure that they say that, hey, on the premises of this factory we also use these products that you're probably allergic to. So I wouldn't worry about this. If you want to go ahead and make sure that that never exists, it's completely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I do believe that we should try our best to buy from vegan companies. So if you could do that, if you can afford it, if you have the availability, go ahead. The third question is kind of personal. Where have you lived and where do you feel most at home? So I'm born and raised in Lebanon. I've lived there most of my life. I've also lived in France, Belgium, Spain, and Indonesia. Where I feel most at home is actually Lebanon. Whether I like it or not, it's just different. I don't like Lebanon because of the government and the politicians and what they've done to the country, but it doesn't change the fact that when I'm there, I feel most at home. The next question is, how do you support yourself financially? I support myself financially thanks to everyone who donates to my activism. So if anybody sees any value to what I'm doing, any of my projects, the community work that I do with Lebanese vegans, the lectures, the social media content, everything, they can donate either one time or on a monthly basis. That's why I mention almost at the end of every single video, if you wish to support what I'm doing, you can check out my website. So if you are interested, it's sebalex.org/support, and you can see how you can help there. But yes, that's how I do it. It's thanks to all of the amazing supporters that I have now or I've had in the past. The next question is, what's your favorite book? This is a good question. I'm gonna answer this question as a non-vegan question since it didn't say what's your favorite vegan book. And my favorite book is called De Niro's Game. It's a Lebanese author who wrote it, and I just don't have any words to describe how much I love that book. So that's that. Are you an antinatalist is the next question. The answer is yes. Personally, I do not feel that it's justified to bring someone into existence, especially given the consequences and the situation of the world that we live in. I don't think it's gonna get that much better anytime soon. I also personally believe that the net value of life is negative, so no matter how much positivity and happiness and all the good things you experience, the negative things that you experience always outweigh the positive things that you experience. So that's why I do not believe in bringing more people into existence, because I believe that at the end of the day, they're going to experience more suffering than happiness. And even if we say more happiness than suffering, well, the value of suffering will always outweigh the value of happiness. Another quick reason that I am an antinatalist is the sustainability part, because it's definitely the most powerful thing you can do for the environment is not to have children. I've made a full video about this. If you want to check it out, click on this link. Next question is, how do you respond to people who say they don't care about the cruelty behind eating meat? Well, what I do is usually I try to see how far they would go with this. So the next question I would ask is, if you were killing human beings unnecessarily, would you mind the cruelty of what you're doing? If they say no, then I would definitely suggest they see a psychologist or actually get some help, because if you don't mind unnecessarily hurting and killing human beings, then there's some things you have to work on. And if they say yes, I would simply bring the question to the name the trait question, which is where I tell them to name the trait that is true of other animals that, if true of humans, would make them feel the same way about senselessly killing them. Did you grow up vegan? I definitely did not grow up as a vegan. I grew up as a meat eater, just like almost everybody else. I loved eating meat actually, and I used to even hunt at some point, so I was the furthest I could be from being vegan. What do you think is the most effective way of activism? So, I do have to say that I do not believe that there's one perfect way that is the most effective, because if we knew the answer to that question, we would all be doing it. In my personal experience, one of the most effective things I've done, it's not one, it's more than one actually, is the university and school lectures. I've had such great feedback from these, because I used to give them an anonymous survey to fill out after the lecture, and it's just no no words to explain how much more impact I saw in that compared to other things that I was doing. And another thing is the campaigns that we're doing right now with Lebanese vegans, with the Animal Rights Center that we've opened in Lebanon, and I see a lot of value in that, because it's a lot of community work, and I really value community activism much more than individual activism. Do you make your own hummus? I'm not even going to answer. I'm just going to have to say that I'm offended that you asked this question. How many languages do you speak? So, growing up in Lebanon, I'm originally Armenian, so I speak Armenian. That's Armenian Arabic for Lebanon. And then in Lebanon, we always also get French and English courses in school. So, that's Armenian Arabic, English, and French. And when I moved to Spain, I also learned Spanish and Catalan. So, I speak a total of 6 languages. I'm not very fluent in Catalan, but I can understand it and read it perfectly. And if I'm typing it down, then I'm completely fine as well. But that's that. I would love to actually learn Farsi and Brazilian Portuguese. I think they're such beautiful languages. So yeah, hopefully I'll learn that one day. The next one is an interesting question. It says, what's your opinion on money? Personally, I don't like the idea of money. I don't like the fact that a piece of paper can actually decide whether or not you're going to have shelter or food. I think it's very disturbing that as human beings we have gotten to that point. We've completely moved into this way of like being so inhumane, to the point where a piece of paper decides if someone's gonna sleep hungry that day, or someone's gonna die outside a hospital because they can't afford to go in. However, this doesn't change the fact that I see a massive power in money, because when you have money, you can do a lot of things. When you have money, you can fund a lot of activism. You can start supporting sanctuaries or opening sanctuaries. You can do so many things with money that I wish I had more. But I mean, I think we all wish we had more. So I don't like the idea, but the fact that it gives so much power kind of makes it impossible to not want more of it, so that you can do more to help others, whether human or non-human. How do I explain to my parents that I do not want to eat the eggs that come from the neighbor's chickens? If you're finding it impossible to let them know that ethically you're against taking what does not belong to you, and therefore you do not want to eat the eggs of other chickens, you can always say that you just don't like taste. And that's gonna be weird if they're still gonna force it on you. So I hope that works for you, and I also do hope that your parents see the point you're trying to make by saying like, I don't care if they're the neighbor's chickens or factory farm chickens, those eggs do not belong to us and we should not take them. What is the most educational vegan documentary? I think lately I really liked Seaspiracy. It's so powerful. Please check it out on Netflix if you can. But other than that, Dominion is really so powerful. I think I've seen it 7 or 8 times, because I like to organize events where I can screen it, and every time I watch it I just like it has so much value, because they explain what speciesism is and they explain animal rights. Like that's something a lot of vegan documentaries miss on. So I think I would go for Dominion. What was the turning point that made me want to go vegan? Good question. I was actually wondering why, as a grown-up adult human being, I was still drinking breast milk, but it was even coming from another species. So I had to Google that and then find out everything about what we're doing to other animals, and I decided to go vegan. Thoughts on white veganism and the drama? So 2 questions here. I'm going to answer them separately. I don't know what drama you're talking about. If it's something happening on social media, I've unfollowed most of the, actually almost all activism related pages, just for my own mental health. And I recommend a lot of people to do it because the amount of things that I'm exposed to on a daily basis is just draining me. And I've gotten to a point in my life, it's been around 5 or 6 months now, where I put my mental health first. So if something is not helping me mentally and emotionally, then I just leave it out. Of course, that doesn't mean that I don't check out activism pages, but when I do, it's because I personally decide to go on a page and get exposed to the content rather than constantly be exposed to the content. So that's that. What about white veganism? I'm obviously aware that there's a way that veganism is being used as a trendy thing where it doesn't take into account let's say the availability of plant-based foods in certain areas around the world. And obviously I think more advocates should speak about this issue. However, I also do feel that when activists make posts about white veganism, they become viral instantly because all these non-vegans can use it, like, oh look, veganism is like this or like that. But these people would never actually share a post or like a post related to veganism as an ethical stance. They would just rather use that white veganism thing. So if anybody does raise awareness about this, and I have done that myself in the past, please make sure to always say something like, however, this doesn't justify non-vegan actions. If you do have the availability and the possibility to go vegan, just to make sure that these people don't use these posts, these educational posts that you're making, in order to try to debunk veganism or something like that, or make them feel comfortable with what they're doing to animals because there's something called white veganism. Next question is more personal again. What are your other interests? So skateboarding, definitely, which is something I just got back into. Rock climbing, I really enjoy that. I did that growing up. I still do it every 3 or 4 months. I should do it more often. I also really enjoy photography, and I think that's it. Well, there's also snowboarding, but I kind of consider that part of skateboarding. Well, goes along with surfing as well. So surfing, skateboarding, snowboarding, as long as I'm standing sideways and going forward, either in the sea or on the ground or on the snow, I love it. Other than that, I'm also interested in calisthenics, yoga, ice baths, I've talked about that, meditation, and more. So yeah, that's that. How do you protect yourself emotionally from all the cruelty? Personally, what I try to practice the most is ice baths because it has helped me find comfort in discomfort, and I try to apply that in my everyday life. And other than that, when I have enough motivation, I also either go work out or meditate. Next question, how's been the reaction of the public towards the animal rights centers? So if you mean on a national level, there's been a lot of interest in what we're doing. In Lebanon, veganism is still growing, and it's growing exponentially actually. There's more local vegan businesses than ever, and it's really amazing to see that. At the same time, because of our community effort, we're getting a lot of respect from the surrounding neighborhoods, and we're always reaching out to help both humans and non-humans. So that's that. Internationally, we've gotten a lot of support from amazing activists. I do have to say that it wasn't as much as we expected, given the fact that it's the first time that something like this exists literally in the whole world, an animal rights and vegan sports center with a free vegan cafe and a vegan supermarket with the lowest prices to make veganism as accessible as possible. We did think that a lot of vegan news pages would actually write about it, but even though we reached out, they didn't show much interest, which kind of hurts because we're pretty sure if this was somewhere like in Paris or London or New York or LA or whatever, it would have definitely gotten more coverage, and that's not so nice. But it is what it is. We'll still do always our best to help other animals, and we'll always be fighting no matter if we're getting that help and exposure or not. And last question, hey Seb, what are the future plans for your activism? So I've been kind of lost. Well, lost is not the right word, but always wondering what's the next good thing I can do. Activism wise, obviously, as you all know, last year I was doing the lectures when the pandemic started. I had around 60 to 80 possible lectures to give, but I only managed to give like 11 of them. And then the lockdown started, so I had to stop. Ever since then, I've been concentrating on YouTube. So I'm definitely going to get back into YouTube right now and try to make more videos. At the same time, I'm working a lot with Lebanese vegans on a daily basis, communicating back and forth with campaigns, the center itself, everything we're working on. And that's not something that I can post about all the time. I can't make posts about it because it's like meetings, brainstorming, going through the past campaigns and things like that. But I'm always working on it. I also have the ebook that's going to come out soon. There's 2 languages left. If you don't know about that, check out my website. You can read about that as well. And I think that's it. So I'm gonna stick to YouTube. I do have one new project coming up, but I can't announce it yet. When it's out, you'll see it, because it'll be on the internet for sure. So that's that. Those are the questions. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I also hope I answered all your questions correctly and you got all the information you needed. Thank you again so much for watching. Don't forget to please like and subscribe. It does help me a lot. And as I said, if you wish to support me, you can check out my website, sebalex.org. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me anytime you want. That's it for today. I'll see you in the next video.